Chloe, are you there or are you busy ignoring me? I have something very urgent and important to discuss with you. You are aware of the family vacation we have planned for the near future, aren't you? I was wondering if you dared to assume that you were invited to join us on the trip. What I really want to know is, have you deluded yourself into believing that you're part of this family? Because if you have, you need to snap out of this and face the harsh reality.
Hello, Amanda. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. I appreciate your concern for my schedule. Yes, I was indeed planning to go on the trip since you seem to be so curious. After all, you were all going to use our car, weren't you?
Yes, we're going to borrow your car. But I don't understand why you think that. That entitles you to tag along with us? I mean, do you really have to impose yourself on us?
Well, it's been ages since my husband and I have had a chance to travel. But I recall that Antonia mentioned wanting to visit a nice brewery that was on the way and asked if I would be so kind as to drive so we could enjoy a few drinks. So actually, another reason why I was coming along is to ensure that everyone can have fun without compromising their safety. You really have nothing to fret about. You see, I'll be the one behind the wheel.
Oh, give me a break. What kind of lame excuse is that? Is that the best you can do? You think you've earned the right to go with us just because you could drive? Anyone can drive, you know.
Excuse me? Did you even bother to read the other messages I sent?
Don't you dare talk back to me, young lady. I just want you to be able to realize you're not part of our family and you never ever will be. So stop trying to force your way into this vacation where you're not welcome. Do you understand how impolite you're being?
I really don't think that I'm being impolite at all. If anything, you're the one trying to insult me and make me feel bad. But I'm afraid that if you're not going to change your mind about me at all, then all I can ask that you do is just have the patience to endure the trip until the very end. After all, it's not like we all go on trips together frequently or anything.
Well, of course. We don't all take trips together more often. Who in their sane mind would want to go anywhere with you, huh?
I fully comprehend what you're saying right now, Amanda. I have my own opinions on the matter as well. But I don't think we should be having this conversation via text. Maybe we can meet face to face and talk because otherwise, I'm going to pick you all up in the car tomorrow. At the time we all agreed on.
I just don't understand what my little Antonio was thinking. I mean, what possessed him to marry a no-good nasty woman like yourself? Not only is your personality horrible, but you're older than him as well. I mean, he must have a lot of patience putting up with you. You know, he used to date beautiful women who were younger than him and knew how to show respect to their mother-in-law. Maybe if he had married one of them instead of you, then I would have finally had a grandchild by now.
Sorry, are you referring to that ex-girlfriend of Antonio's who robbed him blind and then vanished without a trace?
I don't have the slightest clue about the specifics of their breakup, so don't interrogate me about my own son's affairs of the heart. All I'm trying to tell you is that my son deserves so much more than a woman who is older than him by a decade.
If age is the only thing that counts, then I suppose that implies that I'm a better match for Antonio than you could ever be. Am I right?
Obviously, that was not the intended meaning of my words, and you are well aware of that. You're just truly a vexing person that I have to deal with. I regret that I ever gave my consent for my son to tie the knot with someone like you.
Oh, I do comprehend perfectly what you implied, but do you want to know how I do? It's because you've harped on about my age to me incessantly. I mean, don't you get tired of repeating the same conversation ad nauseum? I don't even have to speculate about what you might utter next, because we've gone through the scenario countless times.
I'll repeat it as many times as it takes for you to finally grasp that you are way too old for my son, and that you never had a chance of being accepted into this family. If you don't appreciate it, if you don't want to listen to the harsh reality of the situation, then you can just gather your belongings and depart. Otherwise, I'm going to keep pressuring and pressuring and pressuring until you reach the very end.
The very end? What are you babbling about now? The very end of what?
The end of your patience, of course. And then you and Antonio will inevitably get a divorce, and I can begin working on restoring this family to its former glory. That's the only thing I truly desire from this.
So, basically, you're admitting that your sole motive for treating me this atrociously is just to make me divorce Antonio? Well, I don't know how many more times we're going to have this discussion in this case, but if you're going to be spouting that same nonsense over and over again, then so will I. And I am informing you for the umpteenth time that Antonio and I are not getting a divorce. All right? So don't waste your time waiting. Don't hold your breath and don't fantasize that any kind of miracle is going to occur for you.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I wouldn't be so smug if I were you.
Well, I don't require smugness when I know that Antonio and I have no plans of breaking up ever. I just know it won't transpire. Anyway, if this is all that you're going to be saying to me now, I think I've had enough and I'll be making my exit now. I'll see you tomorrow when I go to pick you up with Antonio. Hey, you were lurking right behind me, weren't you? I can tell that it was you who shoved me into the bathroom and then barricaded the door so that I had no way out.
What in the world are you blabbering about? I didn't do anything, darling. But I suppose it was unfortunate that someone just happened to drop the massive, heavy crate right in front of the bathroom door, sealing you in there. But at least you won't have to fret about needing to relieve yourself since you're going to be imprisoned there for a very, very long time.
What is wrong with you, Amanda? Is this supposed to be some kind of joke or something? Because it's not amusing. What are you scheming here?
Well, isn't it evident? I was just locking you in the bathroom, that's all. I sincerely hope someone swings by soon to free you from there.
I don't understand. Why would you do this to me? I mean, Antonia and I swing by to pick you up in the morning so that we can all have a blast going on a little getaway together. And you lock me in the bathroom? Are you really just going to attempt to keep me confined here while you just zoom away? Do you really believe that you're going to pull this off? You've crossed the line this time.
I think the only person that was going too far was you. I told you that you were not invited to join us on this family vacation of ours, but you just ignored me. But now at least we'll finally be able to have some fun and tranquility without you.
Well, I'm so thrilled that you're satisfied with yourself right now. But just how long do you reckon that satisfaction is going to endure? Hang on a second. Why can't I reach Antonio? Why won't he answer my calls?
Well, that's because I told him that I'd hang on to his phone for him, naturally. And then I'll tell him that you told me you had an emergency. Come up and I'll tell Antonio all about you and how you had to depart early and hail a cab to come fetch you. And then we can get on with our vacation, and you could have a blast waiting for someone to liberate you from the lavatory.
Are you serious? Please tell me that you're not earnest about that. Have you guys already taken off? Did you really just desert me here?
We're on the road far, far away from you now. So your destiny is out of your control now. I just hope that someone strolls along to let you out soon. Otherwise, you could be in there all night.
So, you're certain that it's a smart idea to just leave me here then? Is that really what you want me to do?
Of course, that's what I want to do. What kind of inquiry even is that? I thought I made it crystal clear that I didn't want you tagging along on this trip at all.
All right then. Have it your way.
Chloe, where are you?
Let me surmise. Things went exactly as I first saw they would for you. I heard all about how maybe an hour after you ditched me, you got on the freeway and ended up in a colossal accident. I just hope this serves to instruct you a lesson about what you did.
But where is everyone right now? Where are you? Where is Antonio? Is Antonio all right?
Antonio is fine. Actually, you are the one who suffered the most of the injuries. But honestly, just what were you contemplating? I mean, you realized that there wasn't anybody else to drive, right? I was coming along because I would have been the only other person proficient with driving. But then, you just had to go and pull your little stunt and put our family in peril in the process. Tell me though, was it worth it?
You have absolutely no clue, no inkling, no iota of understanding about what you're spewing out of your mouth. I was the one in the driver's seat, and I know how to drive better than anyone else in this godforsaken hospital.
Oh, really? Do you really know how to drive? Because if you did, if you had even the slightest competence in driving, then how do you explain the horrific scene that unfolded on the road? How do you justify the twisted metal, the shattered glass, the blood, and the screams that resulted from your reckless actions? Don't you realize that you were behaving like a complete moron? And lo and behold, karma came back to bite you in the ass.
What did you just call me? How dare you utter such vile words to me when I'm the one who's lying here in agony? I'm the one who has to endure the pain and the humiliation. I mean, sure, maybe it's been a decade or so since I ever drove a car, but still, a car's a car and driving is driving.
So basically, you're admitting that you didn't know how to drive. Is that what you're saying then? In fact, is your driver's license even still valid? Or were you just driving around with an expired piece of plastic? You know, that means you could be arrested for what you did. Don't you?
Wait, what? You think I'm going to be arrested? You think I'm going to be handcuffed and dragged away by the police?
I mean, you were the one who was behind the wheel of the car. You were the one who made the decision to drive. Who else would be liable? Antonio and your husband were drinking, so they weren't going to drive. And the only sober person there was you. But you clearly don't know how to drive anymore. And you don't even have a valid license. It's all your fault.
But that isn't fair. It's not like I forgot how to drive. Besides, it's not my fault that I can't get a new driver's license.
That's right. I had almost forgotten about that. I remember you mentioned that before Antonio and I were even married, you mentioned how you told me that you would never be able to renew your license again. Not only did they think you were getting too old, but you had too many strikes on your last one. Too many speeding tickets, Too many red lights. Too many accidents. You were a menace on the road.
But it isn't fair. They sent me to their stupid little driving school. I took all their classes and I passed all their tests, and they still had the nerve to not get me a new one. Surely you must agree that that's horrible, right? I mean, who are they to tell me I can't drive? When I know that I can drive perfectly well, am I really going to get arrested just for a little fender bender?
Fender bender? Amanda, you were literally in the hospital and unable to move because of the accident that you caused. Not only that, but you could have seriously injured your son and husband. How can you be so focused on yourself when all that might have happened?
Well, I guess that does make some sense when you put it that way.
And that's why I was telling you that I needed to be there to drive. But you had to act completely delusional. You locked me in the bathroom and then just drove off without me.
Chloe, there's no need for you to take this kind of tone with me. Don't you think I've already been through enough with all of this? You must know I never ever wanted any of this to happen.
I don't care what your intentions were. Who even gets in a car thinking that they intend to cause a crash? Anyway, I'm not blaming your intentions. I'm blaming the thinking that led up to it. You acted completely irrationally and got your family into a car accident. And that's not saying anything at all about how you locked me in a public bathroom and then just abandoned me.
But I just wanted to take a vacation with my family.
But you didn't even get to have that vacation. Why couldn't you just have waited until we all got there before you started trying to bully me? I understand that you didn't want to be around me and that you were worried that I was only going to annoy you, but surely being annoyed has got to be better than being injured. And to think that this is going to be the last real memory we have together before Antonio and I cut you out of our lives entirely.
Wait a second. What are you talking about? Why would Antonio and you cut me out of your lives?
I've already talked to Antonio about that. I told him all about the horrible things that you said to me. And now, with all that's happened for the vacation, he just can't tolerate you any longer. In fact, he was already going to talk about this with you before we even went on the trip. If you must know.
Hold on a second. Now that you mention it, Antonio did say that he had something important he wanted to talk to me about. You're telling me this is that? He wanted to tell me that he didn't want me around anymore?
That's right. And there's one more thing that you should know. I'm pregnant.
Wait, what? You've got to be kidding me.
Because I know that letting you know any sooner wouldn't have been good for me or the baby. Do you have any idea just how much anxiety it already causes me to deal with you like this? I knew that if I told you I was pregnant, you would be trying to control my life. I talked to Antonio about this and told him that I don't know how I was supposed to go through with this if you're going to be constantly breathing down my neck about every little thing. So we talked and said that the best thing to do would be to put physical distance between us all. We're going to be leaving this place.
But this is all so much. I can't handle all of this news at once. How is this happening?
It's happening because we didn't want you to know a word of it. But now that we're about to cut you out of our lives anyways, it doesn't really matter. That, and you never even gave me a chance to speak about my life to you. You never even gave me a chance to share my joys with you. But now you've gone and made a mistake, and that can't be undone. And in doing so, you've confirmed every fear about you that I've had. And you've shown your son and husband that you're nothing but a mean bully who doesn't deserve the loving family she has.
Oh, wait, Chloe, please. If you're pregnant, then this changes everything. I mean, can't we just pretend like nothing ever happened? We can just put this all behind us, can't we? Why didn't you ever tell me about this?
I literally just explained to you why I didn't tell you. Did you even read the messages that I was sending you? I told you that you were just going to try and interfere with our lives even more. If you know that I was pregnant, Antonio and I were going to use this as a chance to cut you out of our lives. That's why you didn't know about it until now.
But then you mean you're not even going to let me meet my own grandchild?
Well, it's going to be hard for you to meet them anyways, if you're behind bars for what you've done.
Please don't say things like that. You really can't think that they would throw an old lady like me in jail.
I'm sorry, but the law is the law. Do you really think that you're above it just because of your age? Either way, you're not going to be our problem anymore. We want nothing to do with you ever again. And we are going to be cutting you out of our lives, whether or not you get arrested after this. It really makes no difference to me at all.
Just wait. Chloe, you can't be serious about this, right? I mean, you're really just going to abandon me during my time of need like this? Please, I had no idea that you were pregnant. That really would have changed everything. I promise I'll change. I'll help raise them well. You have to believe me.
We do not want you to have anything to do with our child at all, Amanda. That's the whole reason we're going to be moving as far away from you as we can. Just stay out of our lives and don't come looking for us. Do you understand?
So then you're really serious about all this. But I never gave Antonio permission to do this. You can't just leave me.
I'm afraid that we've already made up our minds and we're going to be moving out. That is final. Just remember that you're the one that's going to have to explain all this to your husband. You're going to have to tell him that you were so horrible to me that you pushed me and your son away to the point that we never want to see you again. In the end, Antonio and I moved away. We packed our bags and left behind everything that reminded us of her. A few months later, we heard through the grapevine that Amanda was finally discharged and free to go back home, but that her husband was waiting for her there with the divorce papers. He had already made up his mind to end their marriage and start a new life without her. She was in the hospital for so long, recovering from her injuries and surgeries, that you would have thought she learned some kind of lesson, but apparently it wasn't enough for her husband. He had already lost all his love and respect for her. Thankfully for her, the other driver in the crash was kind enough not to press any charges on Amanda, but she was still left all alone without her husband, son, or grandchild. She had no one to comfort her, no one to support her, no one to love her. I have no idea how she's getting along now.